Hola. So I think we're all pretty familiar by now with the reality that if you're not making the money you want to be making, there is generally some kind of subconscious block or resistance that is sabotaging you and getting in your way. But how do you uncover a subconscious block? Well, there's an exercise that I learned from the amazing Margaret Lynch Ranieri, and it's a visualization process. So I'm going to do it here with you now. I'm going to invite you to just get comfortable wherever you're sat. Close your eyes, take a nice deep breath in and hold it. There you go. And just allowing your breathing to come easily, naturally, rhythmically. Just take a moment to really feel the connection to whatever it is you're sitting on or against. Just becoming aware of where that connects with your body. And as you allow yourself to sink into that connection just a little bit more now, I'd like you to imagine that you can see in your mind's eye a movie screen. So you're sitting in a cinema looking at that movie screen. And on that movie screen, there's playing a movie of you. So just imagine what it would be like if you could paint that picture in your mind. And you can see that in that movie, you're standing on a stage in front of an audience of about 100 people. And as you're stood on that stage in front of that audience, it's made up of potential ideal clients, it's made up of friends, family members, even if they've passed on, they've come back for this. It's made up of old work colleagues, school friends, teachers, bosses, just generally people you've known throughout your life. And you're standing on that stage in front of all those people, and you're holding up a big sign. And on that sign, there is written your annual income. So I'd like you to put on that sign the annual income you would like to have. So just go ahead and write that on that sign. But because I want to poke the bear a little bit, I want to get to some of the subconscious roots of what's stopping you. I'm going to ask you to double that. So cross out what you originally wrote and double it on that sign. And you're going to see yourself holding that sign up in front of all those people. And you are declaring very loudly to that audience, this is how much I earn on an annual basis. And I totally deserve it. I am friggin' awesome at what I do. I am worth this. And just notice what's happening. How is the you on that stage looking? How are they feeling in their body? How are you feeling in your body as you watch them do that, as you hear them do that? And for most people, it's generally some form of anxiety, some form of stress response, some shame, some kind of, who do I think I am? That's not true. And just allow yourself to notice the two main negative emotions that are coming up as you watch yourself on that stage, as you hear yourself on that stage. And just make a note of them. Feel free just to open your eyes for a moment and just jot those two main emotions down. And when you've done that, I'd like you to close your eyes again and just take a moment to acknowledge that when you feel anxiety or shame or some form of stress response, it's generally because something that you did or said on that stage somehow broke a rule. A rule that you know that you are never, ever, ever supposed to break. And if you do break it, there will be consequences. And it's probably a rule that has come from your family. You've known it for your entire life, but you've never really thought about it before. I'm going to invite you to think about it now. Just let it come to you now. What rule did you just break by standing on that stage, holding up that sign and declaring how friggin' awesome you are, how much you are worth what you earn? What rule did you just break? And just make a note of that. And when you've done that, I'd like you to just close your eyes again and just imagine that you can change the camera angle on this movie. So instead of focusing on you, it's swung round to face the audience. You can see the audience and you can see their reactions. And I'd like you to notice how your audience is reacting to what you just said and did on that stage. And I usually hear from most people, there's usually a kind of split here. Some of their audience members are really rooting for them. They're really on their side. They're cheering them on. But the other lot of the audience is a bit more skeptical, a bit more dubious and doubtful. Kind of like a bit more, well, prove it. Maybe they're getting angry. Or worse, maybe they're laughing at you, or even just getting up and walking out like you don't even matter, like it's not even worth their time. I'd like to notice how your audience is reacting and just make a note of that. I'd also like you to notice, because for some people it's not so much their audience, but for themselves, they get a sense that they're blowing their own trumpet and they're somehow disempowering other people because they're doing that. So just notice if that's coming up for you as well. And then when you've made a note of that, just close your eyes again. I'd like you to rewind to the beginning of the movie where you first saw yourself standing on that stage, declaring very loudly that this is how much you earn, holding that sign up, declaring your worth and value. And what did your inner voice say at that point? What did your inner voice pipe up and say? And you know the inner voice I'm talking about. It's that really, really mean one. It's that really, really critical one. The really unsupportive one. What did that voice say to you when you watched yourself on that stage, holding that sign up and making that declaration? And just make a note of that. And then when you're ready, just taking a breath, letting it go. And now I'm going to show you how to make the connections so that you can discover some of the root causes of why you are sabotaging yourself, why you are unable to create the income you want, or to charge the price you want to charge, or to have the number of clients you want to have. So I'd like you to look back at what you put for your two main emotions. Because these are the two main emotions that your nervous system is wired to flood with when you think about making more money, charging more money, whatever it might be. Your nervous system is wired to flood with those two emotions. I'd like you to look at how your audience reacted, because what that's showing you is your subconscious expectation of how other people are going to react to you earning more money. And your little inner voice, when you think about earning more money, is programmed to go on repeat exactly what you've just written down as to what your inner voice said. And that rule that you vowed you'd never ever break, can you see how that rule is stopping you in your tracks? Not just with making more money, but also probably in all sorts of other areas of your life as well. So when you think about earning more money, your nervous system is wired to flood your body with stuff like stress, anxiety, shame, embarrassment. Ugh, who the hell wants that? You have a subconscious expectation that people are going to react a certain way. They might be angry. They might be jeering. They might be really skeptical. They might be asking you to prove it. They might be asking you questions, which can feel really, really unsafe and threatening. And your inner voice is programmed to go on repeat with, I can't do that. I'm not worth it. I'm not good enough. I should be ashamed of myself. Whatever it might be. Over and over and over again. And then you've got that rule coming in. So are you starting to get an idea now of why you are struggling to earn more money? And I'd like you to, instead of falling into the trap of judging yourself about this, I'm going to invite you to treat yourself with some compassion. I'd like you to get curious to this. I'd like you to allow yourself the clarity of what is going on below the surface that is stopping you. And I'd like you to have a think about just how long that's been going on. Because it's only when you have clarity on the situation, on the reality of the situation, are you then able to make an informed decision as to what to do. Now, you have two choices here, and both choices are correct for where you are right now. The first choice is you do nothing. You go, that's really interesting, and that's it. You do nothing more about it, and that is a valid choice. If that's the choice you make, that's the right choice for you in this moment. The second choice is, that's really interesting. What do I do about it? How do I start to release these subconscious blocks? How do I start to rewire my neural pathways so that I can program myself for abundance instead of scarcity? And that, if that's the one you choose, is absolutely perfect choice for you right here, right now. You can't get this decision wrong because it's your decision right here, right now. So I hope that was useful. If you've got any questions, do feel free to reach out. Please feel free to replay that visualization, because this is something I do on a regular basis, because I get a different answer each time I do it. I find subconscious blocks, I work on them, I release the blocks, and then I run it again to see what else is there, because we are layered. There's all sorts of different aspects to what's going on. It's really, really interesting. So I'll leave you to have a play with that. Like I said, any questions, give me a shout. Otherwise, have a lovely rest of your day.